right now. I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Booze. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull-no-punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody, welcome to Blondes and Booze. We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. And we figured out the echo issue. However, we have to leave it as is, only because it's a StreamYard thing. We had a big notification on top, and so if you hear any backlash, echoing, or anything like that, I apologize. But it's Brandy, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it right now. So anyway, how are you, Brandy?
I am good, but I just want to ask anybody out there if you can hear me echo. I'm going to try and go in and out during the podcast to see if I can't get it fixed. But anybody out there, let me know if you can hear it.
I doubt
I'll keep muting myself.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it. If I don't know if any of you guys, I see 86 came over from Barton's. I was over there too. I was disappointed that they didn't get better service because they looked like they were in a pretty good hot spot. So anyway, that would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. But hey, we're all having technical difficulties right now.
That we are, and it sucks.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely Google and Chrome and Google Chrome and StreamYard fighting each other. So yeah,
absolutely it is. Yeah, but we do appreciate everybody being here and tuning in to us tonight. Brandy, you want to remind everybody what to watch? And
yeah, absolutely. On Monday nights at 7 p.m., it's Texas Front Porch. That's with, of course, Tex and myself. I'm the better host. Just don't tell him that. On Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, it's Bigfoot Michigan Rob with Beyond BMR. On Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, it's Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And at 9 p.m. Central, it's Danielle Diva and the Diva Dimension. On Thursdays at 8 o'clock p.m., of course, it's us, Blondes and Booze. And on Friday at 8 p.m., it's Blondes, Booze, and the Woo. On Saturday at 2 p.m. Central, you can check out Danielle Diva and Tex when they do their newest episode of Infamous Minds. That's around 2 p.m. Central. And on Sunday nights, special shout out to Midwest Night Watchers and Piercing the Veil. They're on at 6 p.m. Central.
And also on Wednesday nights, in Humanoids with Barton Nunnelly, he is now doing live shows too.
Oh,
so you guys just have a plethora of shows to watch. And then, of course, PRT, Paranormal Roundtable, Josh Turner, he goes live several nights too. So there's a lot of good shows out there to watch.
Absolutely. So make sure you check us all out when you get a chance, or if you can't right then, hey, you can always go back and watch again.
Yeah, for sure. And also, while I'm thinking about it, we have a few events coming up, and I'll put those up. Let me find them. The first one we have is coming up in Schertz, Texas, January 27th. We will be down there with the Kling Brothers. This is their event, and they have an amazing lineup. I mean, you can't get any better than a lot of those guys on that. So,
Mm,
and then the
no,
Clean Brothers, they never disappoint.
You know,
So-
Jason Hawes and Shane Pittman and, you know, Richard Estep and you can't beat this. And of course, Lyle Blackburn. I mean, you just can't beat this lineup. It's a little bit of everything.
Yep. And Brandy and I will be there, and that's going to be fun. We're looking forward to that. And then we have this that we're doing. This is our own events, and there's 3 of them. Just kind of putting it out there to save the dates. One is Ashmore Estates, May 18th, Malvern Manor, July 19th, and then on Saturday, October 19th, we have the Ray County Museum. So that's going to be fun. And we do have some paranormal, I guess, celebrities going to attend each one of those events with us. So we actually booked one today, didn't we, Brandy?
We did, and it's a secret.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it a secret, but it's a good one. I will tell you all, it is a good one. You won't be disappointed by that one. So that'll be fun. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with our show. I'm excited about this. We have Tom and Rye from Hey, how are you?
The lost frequency. I know she was.
Yeah, sorry.
I was trying to find the button and.
Well, no. My echo on your side got real loud and it hit me, and I'm like,
yeah.
There's an echo.
No.
There's an echo and a delay.
Yeah, there's a huge echo right now. Yeah, but I think it's gotten better now.
See, look, that was like literally 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll just do the best we can, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. We'll just roll with it, and we'll make it work.
Yeah, we will definitely make it work. So thank you guys for joining us. And I know, Tom, you are a veteran, correct?
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes,
your
I am.
service.
Yep.
Thank you for your service, and everybody out there in chat. We appreciate that. Definitely appreciate your service. So are you still hearing the echo with Brandy on mute?
We heard an echo from you. When I hear me, it's coming back 30 seconds later.
That's so weird. She's going to hop out and see. Do you hear an echo now?
So the echo is gone. There's no echo now. It's just a really bad lag. Yeah,
really.
It's just a really
See, you
bad
guys aren't lagging on my side at all. So I don't know. I guess we can just try it and go on with it, right?
Yeah, we'll just do what we can, and
it's going to be a trick.
It'll be okay. We'll just roll with it.
That's right.
Just let's just go.
That's right. Let's just do it. Well, you know what? Let's just talk about you guys and how you guys got started in this.
Oh, we I don't know when to go. I don't even know when to go. Oh, it's so hard. Oh, Kristen, I'll do my best.
Okay. So yeah, it's repeating. It's repeating what we're saying. It's really strange. I don't know if your listeners are seeing this, but so we are. Tom and I both moved to Mexico, and okay, I'm going to take these out. So Tom and I moved to Mexico separately, and I came here first, and Tom came about a year later. Okay,
I think so.
And I've always wanted to start a podcast, and when I met Tom, I'm a pretty weird, strange guy, so I was like, I jump right into it, and I know that Tom was kind of out there as well in the fringe a little bit, so and so I start telling him some of these stories, some of the things I've experienced, and at first he was like, "You're a little strange," but I think I was kind of his kind of strange, so. We eventually came to the point that we wanted to start a podcast. We're like, we shared the same podcast. We're like, oh, I love listening to this one. Tom loves listening to this one. We're sharing our podcast. We're both enjoying each other's podcasts. And then we kind of decided it would be great to hear these stories ourselves. So that's what we did. We started our podcast. It's been going now for just over 6 months. Yeah, that's it.
It's rolling along, and we're just happy to be here with you guys. We've already had you guys on, and now we're happy to be on with you guys. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you guys are great. I enjoy your shows for
Thank
sure.
you.
For sure, you guys do a good job. And to chat, I just shared their YouTube channel, so go and subscribe to these guys. They got good content also.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Yeah, we're also streaming this. I'm like, I want to stream this to ours too. So we're streaming it to our channel as well. So, any of our listeners, subscribe to the Blondes and Booze as well.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate that. You guys are in Mexico, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how did you end up in Mexico?
That's a story we probably can't tell on YouTube, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's kind of I would say that I felt like maybe perhaps we were pushed out of our countries that we're living in is the best way to say it. I felt the walls closing in, and it's like I want to live in a place where I can make more choices for myself and feel a little more freedom. Sure.
And you were from Canada, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I was from Canada. Tom's
I'm American, but I lived in Germany for 20 years.
Wow. While you were in the military?
No, I was stationed in Germany for 2 years. 6 months of that I was in Kosovo, in the war in Kosovo, and yes, and I met my ex-wife there, and we lived there for 20 years, and then this thing happened, and she is like me, very liberal, like not liberal, like liberty-minded, I guess is the best way to say it. Mm-hmm. And Mexico was open, and she's half Mexican, and we moved here. And then I went off grid, and now I got solar power, I got a well, and we're living the dream.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Do you have a lot of Mexico? You think there's a lot of stuff that will eat you down there?
A lot of stuff? You mean like animals?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting the thing. I'm sorry, I'm doing my best. Yes. I've had about a 7-meter python on my property I ran into. I constantly have scorpions and other snakes and tarantulas.
And you had the jaguar.
And I was building up to Rye's always put on my story. Yeah, my daughter was out in the woods with my ex-wife, and it's between there and her friends, and we're about 2 miles off the road, and we had jaguar prints about 500 yards from our property on the road. So we're out there. We're out there in the bush.
Oh wow, that's scary too, especially your kids are out there playing.
Not as scary as the stuff you guys run into.
Well, it's a little different.
At least we know the jaguar is like a thing that will you can pet if you wanted to.
Yeah. Or you can shoot it, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I hear you. Do you guys ever have any plans, or do you have family back in the States or anything that you guys come back? Or
yeah, I have a family back in Maryland. I'm from Baltimore originally, and my plans are to stay here and do this podcast and live my life down here. I really enjoy it here. It's very freeing, very free people. It's people here are very nice. I really love the Mexican people. They're actually, people would say that, I love it, but they really are cool. They're very family oriented, and
very authentic.
They're authentic. They're very funny. They are very traditional, and I really enjoy it here.
Did you know the language prior to moving there?
Nope.
No.
No, I mean, I heard my ex-mother-in-law and my wife speaking from time to time, and I took Spanish in school.
Yeah.
But no, this is my third language. I do speak fluent German as well.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Very cool. What about you, Rye?
Well, my wife is Mexican, and I lived down in Mexico for almost 4 years prior. So, I got a really good introduction to the culture. I was living in central Mexico and northern Mexico. And then we ended up here in the Yucatan, and then we moved back to Canada for about 4 years, and then we found our way back here again. So now we're here trying to set up base, kind of thing, more or less. And I wouldn't mind going back to Canada to visit and everything. Hey, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Now, I saw one of your listeners or viewers. They posted about the chupacabra. Now I saw that, and this is a big thing. So Chupacabra is much more common and prevalent in northern Mexico. Now, if you are talking in this area of Mexico and you mention the chupacabra, people will laugh. Yeah. They think it's a joke. They're like, I know everybody thinks Mexico chupacabra, not here. Here, people are like, oh, that's just a joke. That's an old wise tale. But you talk about other things like aluches and how do I want to say this? It's like shape changers, more like skinwalker kind of thing. This is common. That is common. You know, it's like these brujas and brujos, you know, and they will change shapes. You pay the money, you maybe to go spy on people and stuff like that.
Black dogs.
Yeah, black dog, or even cats too. They change into these animals and people all have these stories. You talk to someone, they always have a new story.
Everybody has a story about exorcism or these really little tiny people. I can't remember the names of them.
Aluches.
No, the really tiny ones. The ones that are like 3 inches tall.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wrote it down somewhere. And everybody here, you go to any party here and you tell them that you do a podcast about paranormal and high strangeness.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk to you. And only thing is, we want to eventually get these people on, but hopefully we run into more people who speak English so we can reach a wider audience. But yeah, it's much more black magic-y, and it's a little more trippier here.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. Have you guys encountered any type of those kind of creatures down there?
Any kind of aluches?
So aluches myself, I have not encountered anything. Though I have an encounter with something that was in my father-in-law's terreno, and I don't know exactly what it was. So I'll tell you the story. So I was working on my father-in-law's land, and it's in the jungle, but it's not. It's like in the jungle, but it's still within the city limits. And so, like, you know, machete, you're clearing things. It's still wild. Now, I was sitting down on this log, and I could hear this talking up in a tree, and it's like you can't make it out what it is. You know, like these disembodied voices, and I'm like, what is that? And it's not like voices are traveling through the wind, and it's not like there's people nearby. There's nobody nearby at this time, and so I answer out. I'm like, hello. You know, and of course, well, I'm like, oh, I'm in Mexico, so I'm like, hola, ¿cómo está? You know, yeah, ¿cómo estás? You know,
right?
Nothing. And so I was looking and looking. I don't see anything. Okay, so my father-in-law calls me. He's like, you know, Ryan, I need your help. Come help me. So I go and I come back. About an hour later, I come back, and again, I'm hearing noises. And then I swear I see something up in the trees, okay? And up in this exact same tree. It's like it's there, but there's nothing there, okay? Like if we're talking like the cloaking, that's what I would say it would be, but I have no idea. I really don't. So I'm like, what the heck was that? I don't know. So I continue. I'm sharpening my machete. And then I hear this sound. It sounds like a very large coconut falls and hits the ground right below this tree. Okay, but this is not a palm tree. This is not a coconut tree. You know, there's nothing. There's no branches or nothing. So something of that weight fell down and hit the ground right around that tree. And what it was, I don't know. Again, could it have been an aluche? You know, that's about the size of an aluche. I'm assuming that hit the ground. I don't know. It was something, but I don't know.
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm a little farther off the grid. I'm about a half hour outside of town, and off the main road, it's about a mile. It's about a kilometer less than a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, something like this. And I built basically a wooden cabin with metal roof and put mosquito netting around it. If not, they will literally carry you off the property. It's such a ride. The place is crazy. And machetes are very important here. You always think about people getting their hands chopped off, but the way things grow here in the jungle, me and Ryan are like, what is this? Stuff grows here, like Ryan likes to say, about an inch a day, and that is good.
During the rainy season, I think an inch is an understatement. I would say maybe almost 2 inches a day. Things grow 2 inches a day during the rainy season.
So it's a very useful tool out here. And so I sleep in a hammock outside, and my daughter sleeps in a hammock outside, and my ex-wife sleeps inside the cabin because that's where we are at the moment. Anyhow. So there's been a couple of instances that I've ran into. One time I was out there and we had a campfire, my daughter and I, and we're doing marshmallows and everything. And it's known that these Alushas, they're like an elemental, like a what do they call it? Homunculus.
Homunculus, yes.
Like an homunculus, black magic, Mayan black magic type entity. They're described to being about 2.5 to 3 foot tall, kind of like a Buddha belly, naked, and they like to hide behind trees. And it's known that if you get near any hills, that they'll throw rocks at you. And that's literally what happened to me. That's literally what happened to me. So we're at the campfire, we're talking, and all of a sudden I hear this rock crashing through the trees. There's nobody there but me and her. And I just go to my daughter. I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm getting kind of tired. Let's go to bed.
Wow.
And we went in. Another time I'm laying in my hammock, and it's about 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I can wake up to go to the bathroom. I lay back down. And right before I go to sleep, right in that twilight, I hear something in my left ear whispering, like, and very. And I know that the devil speaks in the left ear and that God's in the right ear. I've heard this before. And it's not Spanish because there's a certain syntax to it. In English, I know that syntax. So I'm guessing it's Mayan. I literally swing to my left and there's nothing there. But the strangest thing has happened twice. I wake up at 3 in the morning, go to the bathroom, like usual. I'm getting older. And
I get you.
My daughter's head, there's like this blue light glowing on the metal roof on the bottom. Like, it's hard to describe. It looks like a flashlight, but there's no flashlight shining, and there's no orb, but just like a light on the ceiling. And when I go to look at where the source is coming from, it disappears. And I don't know what that was. So then about a week later, this happened about a month ago. A week later, off to my right, I have the shower area that I'm building still. And I hear this tapping on the metal. And I'm thinking, I got dogs out there. I'm thinking maybe it's a dog tail, but it's rhythmic. So I'm thinking first dog tail. And then it would stop. And then it would kind of move to another area. And it would stop, but then be in rhythm also. And I'm like, what is this? So I look over again, but shining now horizontally on the wall is also a blue light. And once again, I go, what's going on? And I look, and then once again for the source, and it goes away. And then literally a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, I hear behind me about 20 yards to my left behind me, another voice.
Wow.
And I just say, I use my intention, I'm not here to harm the land. Because this was told to me from a good friend, Moises, who was also on the podcast with us, telling me, your masters have died. You're allowed to stay here if you'd like to. You can protect the land. We just don't want to be bothered. And I'm not here to harm you or harm the land. I'm actually here to make the land better. And ever since then, it seemed to have calmed down. So yeah, I'm running into incidences too out there. So to answer your question.
That's scary. That's really scary, especially having, your daughter out there,
I'm not really scared as much. It doesn't seem to be nefarious. It seems to be more like along the lines of interested in what we're doing. And ever since I've set my intention, there's nothing. There seems to be things missing once in a while, and then kind of showing up again. But we are very unorganized out there. So,
right?
Maybe it's just me, but I'm keeping my eye on things. I'm seeing if there's any patterns developing. But at the moment, it seems to have died down.
Oh wow! Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That has died down. I mean, that could be. I don't know. More power to you.
We're working on it. Life is an adventure, and this podcast is a new part of it, and living off grid is a part of it. And people make my friends in Germany were like, "Oh, you're not going to do that. You're crazy." I'm like, "No, I'm out of here, dude. I feel the walls closing in like right, and they're going to have to drag me out and do what they want to do to me, or I fly to Mexico." And we just jumped on the plane. 13 hours later, we're here. I come directly here. Rye's like, "I got you, man. I know some of the stuff here." Because I was asking questions that I shouldn't be asking on the Facebook groups, and he pulled me to the side, and I was like, okay, at least I have somebody. Rye has, it was very nice. It was very nice to have him help me at the beginning.
Sure. How long have you guys been there now?
I've been here for 2 years next month.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it was 3 years this August.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it's hot here. It's hot here. It's still pushing 85, 90 every day. And that's nice and cool here. That's nice and cool. I'll take that.
Yeah.
In the hot season, it gets to 110.
And I would say that Mexico itself offers so many mysteries and things that have happened, when I was in northern Mexico, if you want to hear my story about northern Mexico and Chihuahua, I can tell you about that. So I was in middle of the day, actually, even like 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. I went out shopping to the local grocery store, and I come out, and as I'm coming out, bringing my carts and groceries to my car, like something is like, look up. It's kind of strange, and people will say this, that something always tells them to look or to do this. I'm sure you've experienced this before.
Yes.
Yeah, where it kind of like draws your attention to something. So I look up, and up in the sky, in a completely blue sky, no clouds, it's this kind of cloud-looking white object, and it is undulating, it is modulating, it is moving, and it's kind of like a plasma ball. And it's about the size of a basketball that I can see. It's about the size of a basketball, and it just kind of keeps changing shape and morphing. There's no other clouds in the sky except for this. And I was like, what is this? And so I'm trying to use my phone, and this was how many years ago? So it was maybe 10 years ago, or a little less than 10 years ago, but my phone was crap. It wasn't picking it up or nothing. I could not get this on camera. So what do? I called my wife, and I'm like, hey, you won't believe what I'm looking at right now. And I'm in this parking lot, and there's other people walking around, and I'm the only one looking at this thing floating in the sky. So I'm looking at this, then I look to the left, okay? And on the left, there is two black objects, and they're not moving fast, they're moving slow, but they're on an intercept course to each other. It's like they're going to hit each other. They're coming at a 90-degree angle to each other. And so then I'm watching these objects, watching this white undulating thing that's moving in the sky. So I'm kind of like flopping between these two, and these objects are getting closer and closer. I look back at this pulsating plasma, white plasma, and then I look back to these two black, and they have now joined. So I'm assuming they've joined because there's only one. Then there's only one that slowly traverses across the whole horizon. It's just going on its own. It changed course. So wherever these two intersected, it continued on this 45-degree angle and continued on. Now this other object, it disappeared. It ended up disappearing. I can't tell you how long I watched the white object for, but in total, the time that I watched this all was about 13 minutes. So this was not just a short little interaction of like, oh, look, there's something and it's gone. It was like me sitting in the parking lot with my groceries, my queso, my leche, my mantequilla, everything, and watching this go down. And I'm talking on the phone with my wife the whole time. So that is why I know the time limit, because I did that. Now I went after with my good camera. I came back to this parking lot with my good camera, and I took some panoramic pictures so I could map out exactly where these things were. And so I had it documented so I could always go back, because my mind is a little bit like Swiss cheese. I got a bunch of holes and I forget shit all the time. So it's like, I need to make sure I write this down. And I never heard anybody else talking about this until recently. It was about 3-4 months ago. I stumbled upon a video on someone else's podcast or like not YouTube channel, and they showed this video of this white cloud moving around, and it was exactly the same. The only difference was mine was more solid. This was a little more transparent. That was the only difference. And to boot, there was a black little object, like black little UFO flying in this video as well. And I was like, okay, that's a confirmation I need that this is exactly what I saw. It was really, really interesting.
I just love the picture of Rye standing in a Mexican parking lot with his groceries, and he's just looking up at the sky, and all the Mexicans just staring at him like, what is he doing?
What is the gringo doing?
Right. That's hilarious. That's too funny. Yeah, I could only imagine.
Yeah.
So is there a lot of like UFO reports and stuff down there in Mexico?
Yes. Yeah, there is a ton of UFO reports here in Mexico. Yeah. Here in this area, I can actually, it's anecdotal, but I can tell you of the secondhand information of actually a UFO sighting, if you want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so this was a biologist who was assisting with like the turtles, like the turtles and laying their eggs and everything like that. So,
Sea turtles.
Sea turtles. Thank you. Yes. So he brought his students down, and he's been doing this for about 10 years now, or even 15 years. Never saw anything. So he brings his students down, and it's about 5 in the morning. So the sun is just starting to come up, and he's standing there overlooking the ocean. And what comes out of the ocean is a UFO, or I guess a USO, I think is what they call it, unidentified submerged object. It comes out. He said, actually, that's one thing I didn't get was the dimensions of it. So I'm just going to say it was 20 feet, but I have no idea. But he did say it was about 40 meters away. He said it was about 40 meters away. It came up out of the water. It had a light that was circling around it. So it had this light that was circling around it. And the light was like a multiple light. It wasn't like one color. It wasn't like blue or yellow or white or red. It was kind of multi light that was circling this UFO. And he says it stayed there for about a minute and then poof, shot up into the sky. And he was like, this is crazy. And so that was the first time he ever saw a UFO. He's been doing this for 15 years. Then the very next day, he is out there again with his students around the same time. And he's facing the ocean again. And his students are all facing inland. Okay. And he's giving them a little lesson or talking to them about what's going on. And all of a sudden, all the students are like, look, mira. And they all turn around and look. And there's this large cigar-shaped UFO that literally raised from the jungle, came up from the jungle. And this one, I think they said was about 100 meters away. And it had 2 lights on it. Now, I think the 2 lights were at the bottom, on either side at the bottom, okay? And again, they were similar that they were not a specific color. They're kind of like this multi-modulating color. And it stayed there for, I think it was about 30 seconds to 1 minute again, and took off flying again. Now, the very interesting thing is this highway that they were like, I never said this, actually. The beach is right by a major highway, and this highway is always busy. There's always traffic all the time. Mm-hmm. They said both times when these UFOs, the day before and this one, there was zero traffic at all, none at all. And he said, like, this, like, not only is it peculiar to see UFOs, but he says, like, why was there no traffic? Like, it was almost as if time had stopped, and like it was only for them, and the traffic had all paused, and these UFOs were able to come through and go.
I think that means that UFOs like turtles.
That's funny.
But
That's
yeah,
funny.
so 15 years of doing this, nothing, and then 2 within 2 days of this, which was just fantastic.
Wow, that's awesome. That's is there any, like, do you guys hear down there of any like mutilations or animal mutilations or anything like that? No.
Huh. I haven't heard of any of that, but there's not as much cattle here. Like if there is cattle, it would be more northern Mexico, like in Chihuahua or Sinaloa or Juarez.
Tabasco up that way used to get more cattle.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any mutilations. I know there's one area in Mexico I really want to go visit. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Zone of Silence. Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh, okay. So I know a little bit about it. This is where zero electronics work. No electronics work at all. Like if you're going in, your radio's going to stop, your phones will stop working, everything. Like there's no communication in this area. It's the Zone of Silence. It's kind of like a triangle as well.
You like
I live there. I live there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Letitia. Thank you, Letitia. We appreciate that. We love you.
Now, you lived in that area, the Zone of Silence?
No, that's where I live right now. Nothing works.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Now, the thoughts is that the reportedly either a meteorite or a UFO crashed in that location, and that's That's the rumor. That's the talk. I don't really know enough about it, but it's kind of like one of the many places I want to go and visit in Mexico, because Mexico has, like, of course, tons of archaeological sites, all these pyramids, and everything. But there's something else that, you want to see. But if you want to talk creepy, there's the Island of the Dolls.
Yes, I've heard of
I've heard of that. Talk to us about that.
Woo!
Creepy.
Where's that at again?
So this is just outside of Mexico City. There's these canals, and now there's this island. Now the story is there is a young girl who drowned. Okay. She was living in this house and she drowned there. And there's something to do with the caretaker or something. I'm not 100% sure, but she drowned. So people will come there and they will bring dolls and candy to appease her spirit. And now this house and this whole property is covered with these dolls. Like every possible surface area is covered with dolls, whether they're tied or hammered or anything. And it is creepy as F, as well, kind of thing. Yeah. It is someplace I haven't gone. I definitely do want to go, but now that if I go there, I'll be with my daughter. So I don't think I would want to bring my daughter there because she is close to being the same age as that. So
you're gonna have to wait another 15 years or so.
Yeah, it's definitely got to wait a bit of time to go there. But yeah, there is so many like really amazing, creepy stories out there about Mexico. Mexico has
we just went through the Day of the Dead, and it was just like, because last year I was too busy doing things, building the property up, and this year I kind of went into the festivities, and they build like these shrines to their departed families, and they sing, and it's a little creepy, but it's also I just think it's a cool way of like
I don't think it's creepy at all. I think it is really beautiful.
It's both. Yeah. It's I'm just saying, as a foreigner,
coming
now, it's a cultural thing that you have to get accustomed to. Yeah.
So if you want to talk creepy with Day of the Dead, there is a town that is about 40 minutes away from where we live. And in this town, part of their tradition, their heritage, is to remove the bones of the dead after 2 years. It's either 2 or 3 years of them being entombed. So after that, you take the bones out and you clean them and you put them on display. Now, if there's any skin or hair still on, it means that their spirit is actually still around, and it's exciting. It's great, and they clean them up and they put them in these boxes. You can walk through the cemetery. You were going to say, sorry, Tom.
Yeah. I've never went to this town. I know which town you're talking about, but they actually had in the city, someone brought, like, they made like a stand, and they actually had a presentation of a skull with the bones and the hair and
that wasn't a real one though. But yes,
you don't think it's a real one?
No, that one wasn't. That was just like
a simulation.
Because they don't really want to bring them out. They put them in the cemetery, or they take them into the house, and they go there with their children. So like this is for us. I'm like, oh man, this is intense. But I guess if you're raised like this, like 3-4-year-old children are there helping to clean grandma, and it's like they have little paintbrushes and cleaning them off. And I did walk through the cemetery where they're on display, and I lasted for maybe 10 minutes, and it's just too overwhelming. It's just like, I need to get out of here, because there is some, like you see some with the skin, like you still see like their chest still has this dried leathery skin on, and the hair,
Yeah. Brandy, so I'm taken by your facial expression. You're not down.
No, I have seen like mummies and things like that where hair has still been attached and fingernails have grown and blah blah blah. I've seen all that, but then you start adding in the fact that these are family members removing their bones from their skin and cleaning them and putting them on display. That's a whole new level of nope.
Yeah,
cultural.
Real quick, thank you,
I
Northern.
agree. Yeah,
I just want to say thank you real quick to Northern California Cubs fan. Thank you very much. Yep.
But no, I don't think I could ever put myself in a position where I would have to clean the bones of my loved ones. you know, I mean, if okay, let me put this a different way.
Now,
okay,
now
I can
I'm
understand.
going to give you a.
I can understand if it's your grandparents or
So
something
I'm
like
going
that.
to give you a little bit more of information that so before the Spaniards came, they actually wouldn't entomb their loved ones. They would leave their loved ones sitting on chairs or in their home.
What?
Yes. So that is
this weather.
So yes. So that was many years ago. So that was what I don't know. Maybe more than 500. So yeah. So they would have them sitting there, but the Spaniards were like, you can't do that. That is nasty. So then they're like, okay, well, we'll entomb them for 2 years, and then we'll bring them out because that was their compromise. That was their compromise. So it's very, very interesting. And now this isn't this tradition is not only isolated here. Like this is all throughout the world. There are other cultures who stick their loved ones in trees. You know, they'll put them in trees, and yeah, that is what they do.
The Batman culture.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Yeah, just different cultures. It's wow.
Well, you know, you got to think about
exactly.
American history. You know. American history, they would take their loved ones and take pictures with them as if it were a family photo before they buried them.
Right. That was a big thing. We also ride bulls and stuff, so that's pretty strange.
True story.
Every culture has its thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Wouldn't catch me doing that though.
Yeah.
Well, and like Freaky Geek was saying, you know, like what kind of stench would that be? And I think there would be like actually. So like when I went into the cemetery, you know, there really wasn't like a bad stench or nothing. You know, it was heavy. The air was very musty, very musty. But that would be about it.
Really?
Yeah, no thanks.
What? So
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I honestly have no desire to go to anything like that. However, if you guys do, please do a live and tag me in it.
Because whenever we get to the level of you fine ladies, and we start actually doing our own paranormal investigations, you know, I'm sure you'll give us some tips and stuff, and then we'll do some lives on that. Of course, we have to ask, you know, the resident, just like, you know, you guys have to. Oh, yeah. But I'd imagine being in a cemetery, I don't think that would be good.
Yeah, like so when I did go through, like Scott said, you know, I think that's the weirdest thing, is taking pictures with the dead. So well, I was taking pictures of the dead, like, you know, in their boxes and everything. And
you were doing that?
No, I did, yeah. And there was a lot of people doing, but after having it, you know, I was like, I did not feel right. I'm like, no, I felt like I was disrespecting them. So actually, I deleted them all off my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you.
Absolutely.
I don't blame you.
That, you know, that just goes back to the fact that
that's been kind of our experiences here in Mexico, more or less. Oh, sorry, Brandy?
Right. Well, you go back to American superstition. There's a lot of people still to this day that won't have their picture taken because they believe that it takes your soul.
Yes. Like cameras will steal the souls, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I get it.
Wow.
I don't want to say that it felt like that, but it kind of did. Like it just felt very disrespectful taking the pictures.
I guess if you have that big thing with the powder in it and it flashes in your face, it might actually steal your soul. That's pretty wild.
But you know, like so experiences in you know, in Canada or US, Tom's got a great one if you guys want to hear that one.
I got one that when I heard your guys' BTK one, I was like, I can't really touch that one, but what made me initially afraid and or interested in this stuff was what happened to me when I was 8 years old. We had to move in with my grandmother, and we lived on 337 South Fulton Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland 21227. If you want to look it up.
Let's get specific, yeah.
Because hey, Google Maps, baby, this is where Tom was scared and almost pooped himself. But
wow, Jason, thank you very much.
Whoa,
appreciate that.
Oh, James Bossard, hey, pop that up there. You're gonna have to pop that up.
Thank you,
Jason. Yeah,
appreciate that.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was 8 years old, we had to move with my grandmother. My father was in between jobs because the rent got too expensive, so we moved in with my grandmother. My grandmother lived in a row home in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I'm from. And so you go up the steps in this house. To the left is the front room where my grandmother and her husband slept. Then you have to go to the right. You have to go through the rooms to go to the back to the bathroom. So there's one room. There's no hallway. You go through a door, the back room, and then the bathroom. So me and my sister, I'm 8, she's 7, and we both shared this bedroom. My mother was in a previous marriage, and on the weekends she would have her adolescent daughter over because she had shared custody, and she was about 12, 15 years old at the time. And every time she came over, like, stuff would happen. Like, I specifically remember the lights being flicked off and on, and us freaking out. My little sister, the brave one, I was the most afraid by far. She would run down the steps and be like, "There's things happening. My parents are partying. Hey, blah 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 blah." And they're like, "Yeah, get out of here. You're just fooling around." She'd go upstairs, and what did they say? They said we stopped playing around, and we're just like, "It's happening. It's real," and we're freaking out. And I'm still trying to piece it all together every time I tell the story, but there was a particular moment where literally shoes that were on the floor lined up against the wall were flying around and hitting me and them, because they were sharing a bed and I had my own, were hitting us in the bed. Like, shoes were literally hitting us. And I'm freaking out and screaming, and they're hitting the floors, and they hear us yelling and screaming, and they think, we're fooling around, and they would yell to stop us, stop, messing around and go to bed for Christ's sakes, and so, then, eventually it keeps happening, and my sister goes downstairs again. I get up out of the bed because it was too much for me at that moment. They go downstairs again. They're telling her to go to bed, stop messing around. She comes up the steps. I'm standing in the room, so she's coming from the stairs, going through the first room, headed towards the second room. The door swings into my room. It is open against the wall. I'm standing about about a foot and a half in front of this door. And I say to her, "So what did they say?" And as soon as I said that, the door slams in her face. And I'm the only one who could physically reach in and move it. And I'm frozen. She opens the door and says, "Did you slam the door in my face?" And I said, "No." And I'm frozen stiff. And she turns me like Weekend at Bernie's and just spins me and walks me back to my bed, puts me on my bed. And then my older sister goes, "Are you okay?" I'm just shaking. And they tuck me in, put the sheets over my, here, like I still see, because that protects you. You know how linen is very protective, spirits, whatever. And I'm freaking out. I remember maybe 15 minutes later, I'm still trying to go to sleep, and there's a space between the bed and the wall. I literally feel Brandy and Kristen. I feel a hand reach up and touch me on my chest. And I jumped out of bed, and I can't say nothing to him because no one believes you. My sister swears she also seen at some point. You remember Alf, the Alf dolls we used to have back in the day?
Yes.
The alien life form Alf. Yeah.
Pretty fitting.
Yes.
What we do for hopefully a living one day. But yes, she said that she actually seen it dancing around and moving, and I didn't see this, but there was. And it really messed me up for years, and her and my sister, my older sister. No one believed us, and for years, so every time I'd hear the house creak or a door open because of the wind or the blinds on the windows rattle, I would always think something else was going to happen. So it kind of messed me up, it mentally scarred me a little bit. So that's why I'm a little bit it definitely explains why I'm messed up.
Right. Well, it bothers me so much. It's not that Chris and I have not had it when we've been sleeping where we have been touched and things like that. But you're in the most vulnerable state of the whole entire day is when you're laying down and you're trying to rest and get some sleep and you're vulnerable. And it's like they almost know that. And that's when they just want to, just reach out and touch you. And you're like, just leave me alone. It's like, stop it. I'm walking around here all day and now you got to bother me. Leave me alone.
Right. Because the whole thing is all the time. It's not like the ghost punch, they punch in on the punch clock and go, "Oh, see you later, Sam." Like,
right.
Old cartoon.
Yeah.
I agree.
Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. We only got like 2 minutes before we have to go to break. So do you got a quick story we can talk about 2 minute wise, and then we'll go to break?
Quick story. Sure. I'm sure I can fill that. I'm trying to think here. So I tell Tom when we meet at my in-laws' place and we're sitting down to actually talk about starting the podcast, and I tell him, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Like I always see a lot of stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm sensitive, but I always see stuff, and I'm like, dude, there is stuff always going on in this house, and like I see things moving out of the corner of my eye all the time. And we're sitting outside on the patio, and then Tom's like, "So go ahead."
Yeah, so so we're sitting on the patio. We're practicing how we would do the podcast. Literally, we're saying, "Okay, how does it go? Let's talk and see if we have a report. Let's see how this will work." I look into at the corner of my eye. I look in the kitchen. There's an island, like one of those islands in the kitchen, and there's a wall on the left, and I see like this white misty thing just move from the island right to the wall, and I go, "Right, I just seen it." And he's like, "I told you, dude. I told you." So, I think being around him, I don't know. He's like ever since I started doing this podcast, things are starting to happen, and I'm very happy and sad at the same time. It's kind of a mixed bag.
Right.
I hear you.
Right. You know, well, we're hoping that someday you start doing lives and things like that. We're waiting for those. I know
in Mexico, we'll be speaking Spanish. We'll be speaking Spanish, and we'll subtitle it when I do it in post and things like that. So it'll be. I think it'll be a very interesting point of view because I think we have a little bit of a niche in where we are and what we do.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting from this point of view to give it back to you guys' direction. You guys have Bigfoot and all that up there.
Yeah, we got a whole different. Yeah, there's a whole different something or other going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and you guys will help us a lot. You'll help us out, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, Krista, it's almost that time.
Almost that break time. So I guess it pretty much is that break time. So everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight, and stay with us. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Real quick though, I want to let everybody know, please, if you have not done so, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. His YouTube channel, he only needs like 25 to hit 3,000. And also please subscribe to Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly. He only needs like 50 to hit 5,000. So we want to make that happen for both of them channels this weekend. So
yeah,
you guys,
and also,
if you haven't done so, show them some love.
Right. Real quick though, we got to get everybody to subscribe to the Lost Frequency podcast because we're doing lives.
I've been sharing their link, and so has others in chat. So. Yeah, they've been getting shared too.
All right. We'll see everybody in 5 minutes.
Yep, we'll be right back.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Appreciate everybody sticking around. Looks like we lost Brandy again, but that's nothing new, you know? Her service is just awful. So, anyway.
Wow, we hear you a lot better. We hear you a lot better right now.
Am I lagging? Are you guys lagging?
Oh yeah, it's been a trip for us. It's been a trip for us. That's why we only have one headphone in, so we can kind of hear each other. And we've been talking a lot, so it's been difficult.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you guys sticking it out with us.
No
Seriously.
problem.
No problem. It's really strange. It's like there's a double audio track that's playing, and the second audio track starts about 15 seconds after. So whatever we're saying now repeats again 15 seconds later. Same with you, and it's just so we're doing our best. So if we ever make a mistake, if you ask us a question and we're like we'll just go with it.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. But I'm glad you guys are sticking it out with us.
Of course.
For sure.
We're professionals.
Sure. Of course you are.
We're trying to be professionals. I think is better. Yeah.
You guys are great. You guys really are.
Yeah, we want to thank all the Blondes and Booze fans out there already. All you guys I think we got a bump of already 6 to 7 subscribers. We appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah. Keep it up, guys. Let's get these guys up too. You guys, when I first met you, you guys didn't have a whole lot of subscribers at all. Like
no.
In this double digits, I think you were
really jumping. Yeah. And then we had some pretty good videos. Like we had Matt Emch. I think, do you know Matt Emch? He had the amazing Dogman werewolf encounter. Yeah. And that one for us is blowing up for us. It's like 2,000 views on that interview, which is great. That's for us. So we're quite happy with that.
And shout out to Matt Emch. He's about to introduce his channel soon enough. So Matt,
Matt is starting his podcast, Planet 412.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, you guys know you can always share your stuff on Blondes and Booze for sure.
Yes, you guys have been very, very gracious to us. Every time I share anything.
Also share your stuff on Texas Front Porch and Bigfoot, Michigan Rob and Humanoids with Barton Nunnelly. We all like it. So
we love Rob. We love Rob.
Yeah.
Love Rob. Rob is my boy. I love Rob.
Yeah.
No, there's one thing I need to say about Rob, and I say this to Tom all the time. He's like the brother of the Undertaker. He reminds me of the Undertaker. He looks like the Undertaker. Sorry, Rob, and I mean that with the most respect. Is you remind me of the Undertaker, like the wrestler. So I know you're listening, and that's a compliment from me. I'd like to give you a compliment.
I remember the old Undertaker. I remember him on wrestling. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, when I see Rob with his bandana on and his goatee, and I'm like, that looks like the Undertaker.
Yeah. I just got a private message from my friend Aaron and Kathy who are watching this show. They want me to repost your link, so I'm going to do that right now.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, she just texted me. That's funny. So there you go, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. That he's like, damn it, Rye. I mean that with respect, Rob. I mean that with respect.
Yeah. So like BMR just said, StreamYard sent a message that they are having difficulties with this. So I do believe this is a StreamYard issue. So since this is a good show, don't get me wrong, and we adore you guys, but maybe we'll have you guys back in January or February, where it won't be so lagging, and hopefully StreamYard gets it fixed by then.
I know they just
of course we'd always love to come back. I apologize. This cough is just terrible. So I actually have another great story I could tell you of one of my own personal experiences.
That'd be great.
All right. So this takes place when I was approximately about 17 to 18 years old. And
thank you, Two Shadows. Thank you.
We're living in this house, and this house was a brand new build. It wasn't like an old house that maybe.
Hold on one second. No
problem.
Brandy, mute yourself because there's a bad echo. Now try it. No echo. Okay. Sorry.
All right. And so this is a brand new home. There was never any issues with it or anything. Perhaps maybe the land itself had some problems, and now Oh, did
wow.
it all just
something got better?
Oh, no. We spoke the same. So yes. Well, we're like, oh, the feedback is gone, but no, it came back. So okay, so let me get on track here. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with the house, the land. Who knows? Now, I was about 17 or 18 years old, and I had come home from being friends. And I don't mean I was drinking or partying or anything like that. I was just hanging out with some friends. I had come home, and I remember the Northern Lights were really out that night. I don't know why it just always sticks in my mind seeing the Northern Lights. And I stayed outside for maybe about 15 minutes, and I was just enjoying the beautiful view. Then I'm like, well, I have to be up early. I have to work early in the morning. So I went in the house and went to bed, get all ready, and I'm laying in bed. But this is one of those nights, and I'm sure we always have one of those nights where you just can't fall asleep. You're tossing and turning, and you're watching the clock because you're counting down. You're like, well, if I fall asleep now, I'll have 7 hours and 23 minutes of sleep. I'll have 7 hours and 13 minutes of sleep. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I was like watching the clock. So finally, I'm laying on my back, and I look up. Now, when I look up, I see this black shadow figure floating above me, approximately 3 feet or 1 meter floating above me. I can see the head, I can see the shoulders and the torso, and around the waist, it goes off into nothing. Now, it was all black up top, but when it went to the waist, it was a smoky color. It was like a gray, whitish smoke. Now,
that's scary.
Yes, but there's more. Wait, there's more. Now, that wasn't the scariest part. The scariest part were the eyes, okay? Were red glowing eyes. Not like a reflection or anything, but they were glowing red. Almost very similar to the red alarm clock I had sitting beside me, but they were red, and it was about the size of the pupils. It wasn't like the whole eye was illuminated. It was just the pupils. You could see a little bigger than peas or marbles, about the size of marbles. And they're these red glowing eyes staring at me. And now some people ask, they're like, well, how long was it? And I'm going to assume maybe 2 to 3 seconds it was there for. I don't exactly know. And I don't know when I fell asleep after. There's an expression that people say, scared stiff, like you don't move. And it wasn't sleep paralysis. I want to make sure that people know this. It wasn't sleep paralysis. I've never had sleep paralysis. I've never experienced sleep paralysis. It wasn't that. Like I was moving, and then all of a sudden I see this thing, and now I can't move because I am terrified. Like, people are frozen. You get the fight, flight, or freeze. And I was frozen. Now, how long I stayed there, I don't know. The next thing I know was waking up in the morning and think, okay, shit, I got to get my alarm going off. I got to get ready for work. So, I don't want to say lost time, but I just don't know how long I was there for. And that was that experience. In this house, my whole family experienced stuff going on in this house. I had another time when we lived on an acreage, and my dad's like, it was my responsibility to feed the horses every night. And he's like, Ryan, did you feed the horses? And I was like, no. So I was working on my computer, and it was in a bay window, and the lights were on inside the house, and it was dark outside. So when I went out, you could easily look in. You could easily see into this. And when I did, I saw who I swear was my grandma sitting at the computer. Okay. But my grandma was still alive at that time. But it was a spitting image of my grandma, which was my mom's mom. And sitting at the computer, I could see the hair and everything, because she has very distinct kind of like yellowish, kind of grayish hair, really kind of tight and curlers, not in curlers, but it was all curls kind of thing. And I was like, but I'm like, well, that can't be my grandma. I'm like, who's on the computer? Because I was about 13 years old at that time, and I was writing in a journal, keeping a journal, like a diary. It's my innermost thoughts. And I don't want people reading, especially my family. So I rushed down, fed the horses, came running back in, and the family is all on the main floor watching TV, sitting in the living room. And I was like, who is upstairs watching, on the computer? They're like, no one. I said, no. Someone was up there. I saw this. They're like, Ryan, everybody has been sitting here watching TV. No one has left. And so that was another experience. Another one I had, as I was walking up the stairs, I had binoculars hanging on my window crank, because we lived on an acreage. I like to see if there's animals and stuff like that. And as I'm walking up, the binoculars are swinging back and forth, violently swinging back and forth. And then I kind of have to, so as you're walking the stairs, you can see in, but then you kind of have to make a turn and then into the bedroom. And when I did that, they were sitting completely still.
Whoa.
Wow.
So those were my experiences. My dad had one small experience. My mom had some major ones with a water being, and then yeah, she saw like a watery figure in a uniform. I'm just summing these up really fast. She had another one where someone was standing at a window, sat down in the bed beside her. She could feel the bed go down, and then this rolled over on top of her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there was multiple, and she thought it was my dad at the time, actually, but we weren't home. My dad and I had left very early. I had a hockey tournament, and they had driven me to a hockey tournament, and she thought it was my dad, but it wasn't.
Wow.
How long did you live in that house?
So that house was for about, I'd say about 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, about 13 years in that house. And there was multiple things. And that house, there was other things that happened. And I was terrified of that house. So there was, like, whenever I had to stay at home alone, and even as I was like maybe a young adult or an older teenager, terrified to be alone in that house, I would bring all the animals with me and bring them up into my room. So we had like dogs cool. and cats, and I want them all in my room because I was terrified. There was another time when I was, and this is not saying I had an experience or nothing, but this is like the same kind of terror I had. I was about 19, 20, and I was working a part-time job. I worked late. I came home and I wasn't feeling well. I was in the bathroom getting sick, and I couldn't leave the bathroom, not because I was sick anymore, because I had this absolute fear. Like I'm like 19, 20 years old, and I am terrified that I am screaming for my mom because that will save you. So I'm like yelling for my mom. I'm yelling for my mom to come and get me, like to come and save me. I'm like, Mom. So she comes, like in my mind, I have these images of like this vampire kind of shadowy figure just hanging outside of the bathroom waiting for me. And I could not get this out of my mind. Terrified, and would not leave the bathroom.
Wow. Yeah. My daughter had a encounter in a bathroom, and it was at a friend's house. My friend still lives there, and she's lived there probably got to be 35 years now. And weird things have always happened there. And my daughter was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 at the time. And she's now 27. But she went in the bathroom and she was screaming in there. We could hear her in there, and we run in there. And she said the man wouldn't let her out. And that traumatized her. She wants absolutely nothing to do with ghosts and, things like that. So, I mean, I'm surprised you're not more traumatized and not want anything to do with this kind of stuff.
Oh, you don't see him off camera.
Now, okay, so I would say I'm not, there is like a trauma associated with it, but it sent me on a path. Like I ended up, and I told you this, Tom, where I started down a path of knowledge, enlightenment. I don't know what you want to call it. Like I ended up taking my Reiki. That had nothing to do with it, Reiki. But then I actually started studying under a shaman. I studied under a shaman for a year, a native shaman for a year. And then I moved on to a medicine woman who brought me in and accepted me. And so that for her, it was like 3-4 years. Let's say about 3 years, I was learning under her, helping her, seeing her with her lodges and everything. And it felt like I was then given the tools to be more protective, to protect my spaces. And I always think of Hellboy when it's like, the things that go bump in the night. Well, we are the ones who bump back. And that was kind of what I felt like I was given these tools then to kind of
empowered you a little bit to like take charge of your own.
Yes. And so I would say after that, now I see a ton of stuff all the time, but I don't have that fear anymore. Like that fear isn't overpowering. I can react and maybe do something accordingly that needs to be done.
I remember one time seeing something. My second encounter that I ever had in my life, I was about 22. No, excuse me, about 24. And I was in a metal band, and I still enjoy metal very much. And we were recording an album before my friend had to fly from Germany to the States to do some type of stuff for BASF, which is like in Germany. And we're like, hey, we're going to go in for the weekend and we're going to record this album. We're going to bang it out. That way we have something. So when it comes back, we can work upon it. That way we have something to listen to. And so we're in there all along, like 8-9 hours a day, just recording these these songs. And there was at one point I'm sitting on the couch. So this building, to describe it, it's called the Power Tower. And I used to live in a city called Mannheim, Germany. And it's in the industrial area. And this Power Tower is 4 floors. And in the middle of this building, there's not a spiral staircase, but like a square staircase going up. Hey, Jason Boussard. You got another great. There you go. Oh, that was us from the past.
Yeah.
Oh, Rise over messing with me. Well, once again, thank you, Jason. Anyhow, so we were on the 3rd floor. So to get into this floor, you have to have a key. Go in. You go down this hallway. And left and right, there's all these practice rooms and these people with mixed sounds and everything. And there's like these fire doors that you have to go through. And then at the end of the hall, you make a right turn, and then directly to the right after that was our big room. If you go straight, there's a back stairwell for fire purposes as well. So we're sitting in this room, and I'm sitting on the couch facing this doorway. So the door is open, and the lights are on a, what do they call it, a light detector,
like a motion sensor.
Motion sensor. And so the light is shining through the doorway, onto the wall, into the hallway, angled onto the floor, wall. And I hear, we're chit-chatting and bullshitting and whatever, and I hear like the door open, the fire door open, and I hear somebody walking down the hall. And I'm thinking, somebody in here on the weekend, going to go in and probably smoke some weed and jam on a guitar or whatever, hey, no big deal. I'm sitting there, and I hear the footsteps getting closer, and I don't hear them anymore, but I'm waiting, and about 5 minutes go by, and I don't hear the door open to any of the rooms. And I'm wondering to myself, what is that? And as soon as I think that, I'm looking at the door, and I see this shadow figure walk right in front with a hat on.
Yeah, the
hat. Very distinct, very tall. You couldn't see the complete top of the hat, and it wasn't like a straw hat or like a derby hat. It was more like in between. Like if you remember the game Mortal Kombat, not Raiden, but the guy who threw the hat.
Yeah.
The one that would touch with the hat.
Now I think
something like that. And he just literally just walked past the door, and I'm just staring at the door like, what did you see? And my band members see me looking at the door, and they start looking, and they go, what did you see? And I go, I don't know. So I stand up, and I don't hear anything else. I don't hear the back door going down the stairwell for the fire escape area, whatever we call it. I don't hear that open, and I don't know. So I walk. I go to the door frame. And I look left, and I look right, and nothing.
Wow.
So that was my second really big. Those are the two ones, the poltergeist story and that one, until I moved here and started doing the podcast with this son of a gun over here, and things started happening.
Right.
Again. But now I'm not as afraid because I'm actually with somebody who knows a little bit about these things, about intention, staging. This, it's kind of scary, but at the same time, talking these out, being with people like you and Brandy who do things like you guys do, who are blow me away. And it's like it's not as bad. It's not as bad. So like when things happen now, like Rye was saying, I don't feel as afraid because I don't feel like they can physically harm me. And it's not like something, because the stories we've been hearing are, magnitudes more scary than it is for us, to actually see them. So it's not as bad.
Yeah. What do you think the Hat Man was?
I don't know.
Did you have?
Yasmin asked that question.
What is the Hat Man to begin with? What are the theories that you've been hearing?
So
I'm sorry
I have a lot of theories on it. A lot of the ones that I have heard have been on the negative side. Yeah. So I don't know. I personally have never encountered a Hat Man, so I can't say. but just from like private cases and stuff that we've done, and people say, you know, the Hat Man, that it's been a negative type haunting. So I was just curious what your thoughts were.
I didn't have that feeling at all. It was more like hi, like that. That's what I felt like. Hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't negative. It was just, but it was so distinct. It was so black. There was no fuzzy edges on it. It almost looked like a silhouette cut out, but not. Hard to describe. It was just like, dude, I can picture it again. And it was just like, it was more like I wasn't afraid. It was more like, what is that? Because I'm with, 3 other guys, and we're in our mid-20s, no big deal, having a good time. And I don't know. It was just more like, let us know that this thing was there. I didn't feel any negative or any.
Maybe that's how it's starting though. Is like, hey, I'm here. So then you acknowledge it, and then it starts to ramp up. Like to say.
No, maybe we were so heavy. Our music was so heavy that it knew better than come in the room. So I'm also a metal vocalist, so I do a lot of screams and grunts and growls, and so he was just like he was just like tipping his hat to me like respect.
Yeah, maybe so. And you know what? It may not have even been anything negative. It could have been just somebody who lived there and he wore a hat. Who knows?
Exactly. That is so true. And when you were saying like blacker than black, like the black shadow, that was the same thing. There's the same thing for me. That thing, that shadow person or thing that was floating above me was blacker than black. It's the best way to describe it. Yeah.
Because Germany suffered a lot of, especially that city, because it was an industrial area. It got bombed. I mean, literally in the woods beside my house where I lived in Germany, because I lived on the wood line too. You would still see the craters when the Americans bombed the war. After the war, and you would still see there'd be in the middle of the woods, there's trees growing out of them, and my dog liked to run inside of them and chase other dogs. And so like the areas have been bombed out. So these buildings have been built after 1945. Even that one's a brick building. There's still some really older ones there. So, but maybe it's something to do with the war, and who knows? Because it's a really, like, even though it's an industrial area, it's a little bit run down, and it's not very well kept up for Germany, even Germany being the way it is, like in the city, everything is very, right. I don't know. It's a pretty spooky building in itself.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So down there where you guys are at, and I know you guys have talked about a lot of cults and things like that. Can you guys talk about anything you've seen or witnessed or anything down there with any type of cults?
I wouldn't say necessarily cults, but there are, like, remember Moises was talking about like black magic. So there's a lot of black magic users. So I won't say cults, but I would say like individuals, practitioners. It's they're very much into.
They kind of meet up. As far as I know, they do kind of meet up, but it's not like a ritual type thing. It's more like, hi, we're hanging out. We know.
It's like a work function.
Yeah. It's kind of like they're all around the water thing.
Around the water cooler. It's like, let's discuss. Yeah, so last week I turned into a dog, and because people do pay these. And again, I don't want to call them skinwalkers because I think they're actually separate in a way, but I still think they're very similar. There's a lot of similarities, but people pay them to spy on their loved ones or their exes. It is a very common thing, and it's like here in Mexico, it is a very religious but spiritual culture. Like everybody is usually predominantly Catholic, and they're very much abiding by it. But there is the very spiritual aspect to it that you don't find in Canada. It's not in Canada. There's not that. It's like I go to church.
Catholics are different,
but this is completely different. This is like they believe in black magic. They believe in curses. They believe in hexes. Like stuff happens all the time, and you're like, okay, I need to go talk to a bruja or a curandero, to try to fix this.
I have a Mayan girlfriend. Like, she's 100% Mayan, like straight up Mayan, and she tells me things like she has property where her family all lives, and it's in a city, but it's still like there's a lot of trees and it's brushy. It's this place is crazy. It's wild,
It sounds like
telling me a story. There's a cave there. There's a cave on the property, right? And she's saying in there's some things that happen. And she was telling me a story where her uncle was out with another uncle, and they were out drinking on the weekend at the property, and they were a little drunk, and he was like, "Okay, I'm going to go get some more money so we can buy some more beer." Because one of us was like, "I don't have any more." He's like, I'll spot you, no big deal. So he goes to the house to get money, and then at the time, he's sitting in a chair in the yard. He tells the story. This is secondhand. This is from her, and she's sitting there. He's sitting there, and all of a sudden, this woman comes out of the wood, like the wooded area of the property.
Yeah,
like a very beautiful woman. Sits down next to him and says, "Oh, you're drinking. You're having a good time." He's like, "Yeah." She goes, "Would you like me to buy some more alcohol for you?" He goes, "Yeah, that'd be great." And she's like very attractive, very nice, very charming. And then he happens to look down at her legs, and one is like a chicken, and the other one is like something else, like a horse leg or some crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh!
He literally jumps. This place has. I've heard. Next time I come on here, I'm going to tell you another story about the little people. Like I can't think of the name of them. There's a story that I was told at a party that is so unreal. I don't know. It could be a movie written about it. It's so crazy. You're right, Brandy. Kristen, excuse me. There's an amazing amount of things down here that you have to be aware of.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stuff. I studied demonology, and I learned a lot about like the different types of Satanism and things like that. And in Mexico, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of Satanism down here.
There's also a lot of Catholic.
It's super Catholic. Catholic.
Yeah.
I've seen like there's every house has a little I don't know what they even are, like little shrines,
altars or shrines.
And, I mean, every house they might not have much. They'll have their hammock. They'll have maybe a week's worth of clothes, they wash all the time, and they'll have their food and everything. But there's that shrine. They'll have their picture up with Jesus. They'll have their cross, and they're very, you come in the house, you're very respectful, and
absolutely
they don't play down here. They don't play it, but like
Maria
Ryan was saying,
Lupe, yeah,
like yes, that's an exhibit. They ride around on the bikes in the middle of the road.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other story. That's coming up. So that is a pilgrimage. They do pilgrimages all the time.
Yeah, be careful.
If you know the statues you have in churches, like Mary or Jesus kind of thing. Well, they get these statues and they'll put multiples together, shrink wrap them together, put them on their back, and ride their bikes around
like hundreds of kilometers.
Yes, and this is like their pilgrimage, and they will do this, and it'll be starting probably at around end of this month in December. We'll see it all the time. And you know what? I'll try to take some pictures, and I'll definitely share them because
it's scary.
It
should be on the back road.
It's almost comical in a way. Like I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they have like the more you can carry, the more like forgiveness for the shit you've done, kind of thing.
You have like teams, like a car, like a pace car, like the fronts kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you'll be out there because I have a back road that's very curvy. And you got to watch out, man. You will run over these people because they are everywhere.
Yeah, so that's one. When I was in Central Mexico, it was more running. So they wouldn't run with the statues, but they would have a bus full of people, and they would run. They would traverse hundreds of kilometers. It's like, okay, it's your turn. You do 5K. Boom, 5K. Next runner. Then you get on the bus, and then the next runner goes, and they will. This pilgrimages is huge here. It's to atone for your sins.
And they have like jerseys too. Like,
they have jerseys. They get jerseys made up.
Like this church so
sponsors.
Yeah, man, they don't play down here. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Every one of them will have these jerseys. Yeah. It is a common thing. Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty crazy down there. I mean, I got to tell you, that would be hard for me to do, is just pack up and move to another country. I commend you guys, man. You guys are brave.
Done it twice. I've been all over Europe too. I've been to Switzerland, the Netherlands, France, Denmark. I was always either skiing or windsurfing or something. I was always very physical.
And we, like Tom and I, we do want to eventually get into like doing paranormal investigations. I think we kind of said that in the area, we definitely want to do that.
Yeah, okay. I'm coming.
You're coming now.
I'm coming. Just sage me up, Ryan.
Tom is a little bit of the chicken shit. But with enough egging on, I'm sure we can get him to
I
go.
would go with Krista. Krista, I would go with you. No, I'm sure.
I got you. I got you. I'm telling you.
I'm a demonologist, and the BTK demon bumps me over, and I'm like, Krista's like, it's cool. We got Bob with us.
We got you, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about being with Krista, but here it's like, okay, it's a foreign country, foreign language, and demons that probably speak Spanish.
but okay, so on the other side, you don't have to worry about the other languges. Okay. So yeah,
they'll speak English.
Yeah, they'll speak English.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yep. Very true.
It's even scarier. I'd rather not understand them.
Right. I hear you. Here's the thing, though. If you guys do decide to get into paranormal investigating, Tom, just even though if you are scared, don't show it, because that's when you become the target.
Yes, exactly. That's when you become the target. Okay. I agree totally.
I know I won't drink beforehand because that's spirits. That's just inviting spirits.
Yes.
But I might I might take a hit of weed before I go in.
No
don't
weed? Do that either. No. You have to be completely.
Yep.
After, sure, you can do it after. After we cleanse ourselves and everything.
Can I at least do some push-ups so my veins are sticking out?
Yeah.
No.
Just no.
If you do though, you gotta go in there with a clear mind. Even if you're not feeling good that day, don't go, because you don't want anything to open you up.
Okay, so it's like a sudden setting kind of thing. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, you have to be completely in the right mind. It's like
100%.
If you're not feeling.
What about meditation?
Yes.
Yeah, you can meditate.
Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah. I'll meditate before.
And you can, if you, believe in covering yourself with the white light, some people do that. Some people pray. Some people carry crystals, protection crystals.
I'm basically going to go after what Rye tells me to do, to be honest with you. And if anything follows me home, Rye, I swear to God, I will haunt you for the rest of my life.
Well, that's not a guarantee, because you never know.
So the number one thing is never take anything from the sites.
Right.
Number two is, we will definitely be cleaning ourselves after, but anything yes, and anything that you believe is protection. So if you're like, this rock has always been my protection, even if it's just a normal rock you picked up,
even like funky old,
it has the power that you've put into it. It is the intention that you've put into it. Okay. So it actually is part of your protection.
I'm basically doing a lot of jokes because I'm really afraid.
I hear you. Yep. But the more you do it, you always still, just watch your back, and know you're going in there at 100% and that you're protected. And when you leave, tell everything's got to stay there, Well,
like I said, my girlfriend, she kind of knows some of this stuff too. I've already talked to her about it, and she's like, I know some protection stuff too for the Catholic side, and I'll be double protected. I guess I'll go through the metaphysical as well as the religious side of it, and then I know that the name Jesus has a lot of power. I do know that, so I definitely believe in that aspect of it, and so I won't use. I know that's like pulling out a nuclear weapon when you don't need to. I know that.
Right.
So there's a couple things I do know. We'll be definitely I will lean on you like Morgan Freeman.
There you go. And if you get real scared or something, just call me. I'll walk you through it.
Really?
Exactly. There we go.
Well, I will hit you up with it before we start doing it. I will definitely contact you and ask you for
absolutely. That's what
Brandy too. And Brandy too. I know Brandy can't be here with us because of technical difficulties, but Brandy, I'll be contacting you too.
But she's in the chat.
Brandy's in the chat.
She's in the chat, and hopefully, don't hang up before you guys. When we end the show, we'll reschedule you guys for another couple months or something in January.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be on.
And then hopefully StreamYard will have their stuff worked out, and Brandy will not be having the difficulty she is having. She was having issues last night too with the show. So it's just it's StreamYard. It's been StreamYard.
Yeah, like we didn't do it live last night, but we did a recording last night, and it worked well for us, but it wasn't a live though. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we are at the hour and a half mark, just a couple minutes past it, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Once again, please subscribe to the Lost Frequency, and I'm gonna drop their chat or their link again in chat. Hold on here. I've been dropping it there, and then we've had a couple moderators drop it too. Also, please subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can see when they go live, because you guys do plan on doing live shows in the future, correct?
We've been doing them.
We do a couple. We've done like four lives. Yep. Yeah,
Awesome.
and I just want to say, you know, your viewers, your listeners are awesome. You know, like they're fantastic. So I want to say thank you to all of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, once again, Bigfoot Michigan Rob is only 15 away from 3,000 subscribers. So please share him out. And Barton Nunnelly had only needed 50 earlier. I'm sure he's closer than that by now. So please go and subscribe to him. And also, when you're done with this show, click over to Paranormal Roundtable. I know Josh Turner's live tonight too. So anyway, we appreciate everybody and thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Good night.
All right.
Good night. God bless.